Just days after phasing out new gas cars, California says avoid charging electric vehicles amid grid emergency. This is by Zurich Tyler Durden. Shortly after 6 o'clock in the PM ET, just as California began to head home for the day, the California Dependent System Operator issued a Level 1 emergency energy alert shortly after tapping all its available power supplies. Despite earlier warnings to reduce usage, Californians, in all their self-righteous virtue, decided to charge their EVs anyway, pushing demand above capacity. Bear in mind that it's not even the scheduled flex alert period. That's from 4 p.m. to 9 p.m. PST. It's pretty clear Mother Nature has outrun us. California Governor Gavin Newsom, who issued an executive order Wednesday to free up emergency power supplies, said during the press conference. He says, the reality is we're living in an age of extremes, extreme heat, extreme drought, he said, and extreme lack of grid preparedness for your state's virtue signaling. And then update at 4 o'clock at that time, and the day went on. California warmed up more than expected, and that prompted California's grid operators to issue a specific warning of the potential for power shortfalls that could lead to blackouts Wednesday night. Officials asked residents to cut back on power use on Wednesday between 4 and 9 p.m. as temperatures soared above 100 degrees Fahrenheit. The heat poses the biggest test to the grid since the summer of 2020, when rolling outages engulfed portions of the state. California power grid officials have a sobering warning this week, telling customers to brace for potential blackouts as the state's grid faces capacity constraints over the Labor Day weekend. California's grid is projected to exceed 48,000 megawatts next Monday, the highest of the year, as a menacing heat wave will send temperatures across the state 10 to 20 degrees above normal through next Tuesday. The fact that CAISO has to ask customers not to charge their electric vehicles during the current heat wave implies the grid is fragile. If the weather or grid conditions worsen, the ISO may issue a series of emergency notifications to access additional sources and prepare market participants in the public for potential energy shortages and the need to conserve. This is what California's grid operator warned. A surge in EV charging at home could bring down parts of the state's grid, they said. So much for the green energy transition to unreliable new renewable solar and wind. How exactly is a progressive state which is hell-bent on ridding fossil fuel generation from the grid and replacing it with unreliable solar and wind going to support all the new EVs after lawmakers passed a new measure last week to eliminate all gas-powered vehicles by the year 2035. Nuclear is the only answer to decarbonizing a power grid with sustainable power generation. Asia gets it. Grid operators are concerned by the increasing use of air conditioners, and as the evening rolls around, people plug in their EVs to charge, increasing power demand as supply constraints suggest the state will have years of a chaotic grid similar to a third world country, they said. Please leave your comments. Thank you for your support. Kindly support my Patreon account. The daily posts are 5 videos daily, and they are totally different from what I have on my YouTube channel. Thank you so much for your support and that you find all my content so interesting. You'll find the Patreon account details in the description box below.